Hey, how are you doing? Japan's social problem of exploitation of technical interns from Southeast Asian countries by Japanese acceptance companies has been talked about these days among Japanese news media. And overseas known Japanese news media criticize the fact that Japanese government couldn't improve treatment of technical interns, although it had already recognized and it had already realized that there was a disadvantage on the political measure for accepting technical interns from the outside. So originally, this technical intern program enforced by the Japanese government was for contribution to development of industries in developing countries, like mainly Southeast Asian countries. And Japanese government expect the people who participate in this program dedicate themselves to development of a certain industry they're involved with in Japan with knowledge and skills cultivated through this program after going back to their countries. And probably in Japanese companies that think of using this technical intern program want to acquire a subsidy from the government for intern acceptance, and they want to secure inexpensive manpower. So Japanese acceptance companies make no effort to teach interns useful skills that they can make the most of for their work after going back to their countries, because it is obvious that interns from Southeast Asian countries have to quit their halfway due to expiration of this intern program. And Japanese companies think that it is waste of energy to carefully teach very important skills if nobody keeps working there for longer than the training term. So naturally, Japanese companies assign foreign interns, trainees, very simple manual labor. There is no need for, special skills or abilities. So most of Japanese companies that use this technical intern program don't understand the significant point and very important point of this program, but they just have an interest in what they are given by the Japanese government, and they use this program because they just want to stabilize their company management by taking advantage of benefits from the government. So this is probably the main problem that Japanese acceptance companies exploit foreign interns. So I think it is really difficult problem to control by rules and laws and punishments structurally, because too extreme rigid system has a risk to reduce the companies that cooperate with this technical interns program in Japan. But of course, there's a pros and cons. There are pros and cons on the issue of the necessity of this program itself in the first place. And one more thing, the Japanese people's extremely low awareness of human rights is considered problematic in the world. So there is a Japanese unique problem in it. Of course, the responsibility for the problem of exploitation needs to be taken by employer or acceptance companies. But if you ask if every problem of intern exploitation is attributed to an employer of an acceptance company, I can't say clearly yes to this question. If you have ever worked in Japan before, you probably understand what I'm talking about here. The Japanese people are really obedient to companies' rule, and even if they complain about it, there is no one who violates the rule, but everyone always watches each other not to break the rule. And if there is someone who violates the rule in an organization, he is denounced harshly and he is denounced thoroughly because he breaks the balance of the order maintained by the rule in an organization. So the community where people with a common purpose gather forces people to admonish themselves, because everyone think it is obvious that the order in the community should be controlled by the rule. So even if there are some unreasonable rules, nobody thinks that rules are wrong in Japan. So if someone complains about this weird rule, people in the community think that the rule are perfect, rule are justice. And his way of thinking, who complain about this rule, is absolutely wrong. So, and this atmosphere is completely controlled by the unreasonable peer pressure. And automatically this peer pressure that forces community members to accept unreasonable rules instill the sense of guilty about the fact that you complain about the weird rules in the organization. So this atmosphere makes it really difficult for people in the community to feel exploitation inside. So this is extremely bad, characteristic of Japanese people. So although an acceptance company realized the rules for employees are unreasonable and wrong, but it takes free ride on this atmosphere because no one complains about it. So there's one clear example about this. So you may realize that there's no garbage box around Japan. No garbage box everywhere around Japan. So recently municipalities made an attempt to enforce no garbage box policy temporarily as one of the precaution of terrorism, like someone may plant a bomb inside of the garbage box. The Japanese people were too obedient to what municipalities said. In the meantime, Japanese people provided additional concerns like someone may hide the bomb inside the garbage skillfully to the government to request the municipality to keep enforcing no garbage policy, even though they understand this enforcement compel them, inconvenience to throw away garbage in the town. So after all, majority of people who believed that this policy was perfectly just suggested abolition of garbage boxes around the town and the rule that everyone must take garbage back home, no exceptionally. So stupid. So municipalities that originally set a garbage box in a public place after suspension changed their attitude after all and took free ride on this people's opinion. So Japanese people stupidly think that unreasonable things should be tolerated if it is described in a rule book. So this is Japanese people's stupid justice, and this is Japanese people's stupid characteristic. So I think this exploitation problem, this exploitation problem of technical interns program also have the same issue, like Japanese people's stupid peer pressure forces interns to tolerate this unreasonable treatment.